Live tonight from the Michigan International Speedway CORA Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Money Series Season 4 back in action on LSRTV from MIS for our first race in the Indy cars, 100 laps and 200 miles from start to finish tonight. Want to welcome you up to the LSRTV broadcast booth. As always, myself, Evan Pasocco, joined alongside by PDJ Zeller, Alan Larson, also going to be hanging out with us up at the broadcast booth tonight. And qualifying going underway right now, a 10-minute closed qualifier session that currently has George Bark on the pole with a 33.146 as these drivers set to complete their two individual laps to set tonight's field of what's going to be in the range of about 30 cars. And Petey, want to go to you first tonight. It's going to be our first race that we're seeing in these Indy cars, not the DW12s. They're the circa 2011 Indy cars, so a little bit of a different than most people will run on iRacing. These are the classic Indy cars, bad fast speed, and at a track like Michigan, the 2-mile D-shaped oval, always going to be a very exciting one, and things could get pretty ugly pretty quickly as well out there when you're in packs, 3, 4, 5 wide as this racetrack is, going speeds in excess of 220 miles an hour.
Should be some insane racing to watch tonight. This, like you said, is the old Indy car. They're faster than the new one, and they draft a lot more aggressively. It should be a ton of fun to watch. Looks like so far George Bark has the fastest time by quite a bit. All the drivers are really close. Everyone from 1st to 24th within 0.2 of each other. Ryan Borges kind of ruins that. He actually ran about 6 seconds slower than the rest of the field, so I'm assuming that he had some sort of problem on his qualifying lap. But this is our field so far. We have a lot of names in here. 2 names you won't notice in here tonight are Michael Churchma and Don Stevenson. The points leader and a top 5 points contender have both left the league due to personal issues, so we will no longer be seeing the number 47 of Stevenson on the track, who won 4 races this season, Evan, and that opens the door up for a lot of drivers here.
Yeah, Ryan Borges got an update on that qualifying lap. Seemed to have some sort of an issue because that thing was only going about 160 miles an hour around the racetrack. Right at a quarter number 4 on his first lap, which obviously is going to cost you times on both the first and the second laps as well. So that's one of our drivers that we typically see up front, and he's actually our point standings leader out of the Atlanta Motor Speedway, which was one we can go now that we mentioned it. Let's talk about right now, top 10 at the championship standings as 8 races have been completed. Borges sits at the top with 1 pole and 1 win, also on 4 top 5, 6 top 10s. Nick Doucette, second place, but 40 points back is where he sits. Nathan Sedlak, 57 back in third. George Bark, fourth, in 58 points out of it. 99 back, and again, provisionally, Don Stevenson. He will obviously expect to be dropped out of that after has announced that he is not going to be making any more starts on this season. David Wink, 6th, 7th, Mitchell Reeves, Martin Porter, Joel Wood, Everett Lane are the top 10, PD. But again, everybody's eyes obviously have to be on the top 12 because that's where that cutoff is going to be for the chase for the championship. Still quite a ways away. After round 19 is when we're going to be talking about the 5-race chase for the championship. But it's still kind of on everybody's mind. Tonight also starts another season in the individual vehicle points championships as well. Because again, it's the first night out with the IndyCar.
Tonight we will find out who the best open wheel racer is, and with George Bark being first and Brandon Monsivais second. Brandon has been coming on hot lately, Evan, and we saw him run top 5 both at Charlotte and Atlanta, and this is a crew that struggled through the first part of the season, did not even get a single top 15, and now they're running off a lot of momentum. They've been running strong, and he said that the IndyCar is one of his more favorite machines to run in, so we will definitely get to see this driver try to prove himself here. It's been great to see him turn the season around, and same with George Bark. Winner at Daytona, been struggling quite a bit since, but he's provisionally on the pole tonight, unless Wenck, Adkins, or Burke can knock him off. Actually, not Burke. Burke is not in the field tonight. He'll be adminning this race, but it'll be interesting to see if any of them drivers can knock him off, but if they can't, George Bark will try to return to his winning ways at Daytona. And remember, Daytona's an open, just an open throttle track, and this is an open throttle track too, just like at Daytona. I mean, it's obviously completely different styles racing. There they were bump drafting with trucks around that huge speedway. Here, if you bump draft, there's more than likely going to be a huge accident. But still, it's wide open and just going to be a lot of drafting going on tonight. So I expect to see George Bark do well at this type of racing like he did at Daytona, Evan.
And much like we saw last week when we went to the Atlanta Motor Speedway with the beat car, we were also there earlier in the year for the SH&D trucking race at Atlanta. That was round 2 with the trucks. We've already been to Michigan earlier in the year. That was with the beat car. Don Stevenson was the name that took home the checkered flag. And that one again not in the field tonight or for the remainder of the season after being one of the dominant drivers. So the door is wide open. Coming up in one, well, now actually not in 1 week's time, but the next race, Peter, we're going to see after the holiday and the New Year's, Christmas, all that, is going to be one more race in these Indy cars at Watkins Glen International. That's going to be very exciting because that's going to be the road course, first road course that we're going to see on the year. So that one going to be exciting as well, but a short stint with these Indy cars, only 2 of them back to back before we head back to the Gen 6 cars.
Yeah, it should be exciting to watch, Evan. As we get ready to grid here, Evan, and I think we're in for a spectacular event with these Indy oval and road courses, and let's just go green. This is going to be awesome.
100 laps, 200 miles is the distance in tonight's race, and let's take you down through the starting grid and let you know where all of these 30 drivers are going to be starting in this race. Pole position going to go to the driver of the number 14 machine, George Bark. He'll start again with a 33.146 on pole position. Alongside him in second, Brandon Cruz-Bossevice in a 54.
In third tonight is Kevin McCarthy. Starting from fourth tonight will be William Roberts Jr.
Colton Berkey going to start from 5th spot. That's the inside of row 3. Alongside him, Dan Bailey in 6th.
7th goes to Martin Porter. 8th to Tim D. Johnstone.
Damon Gilbert on the inside. This is going to be row number 5. That's going to be P9. And 10th position to John Pansula.
11th to Charles Starks. And rounding out row number 6 is Dylan Ackert in the 29, starting from 12th.
Dominic Dyball rolls from 13th position. Alongside him in P14, going to be the 79 machine of Joel Wood.
15th is the 26th machine of Marcus Babb, and that's 15th actually. 16th is number 02 of Mitchell Reeves.
James Brown, the double O car, going to roll from 17th position. Alongside him, the 17, that's Mike Morrow.
19th tonight to Jonathan McMinn, and arguably the driver who had the best run in the nationwide car stint, Nicholas Doucette, starting from 20th.
Patrick Skyhill going to start in 21st position. 22nd, Everett Lane.
23rd to Nathan Sedlak. 24th to Dustin Lee.
Mark McFadden going to roll from 25th position. Alongside him, 26th, going to be the 39 of Salicardi.
27th, Jason Halverson. And starting in 28 is one of the few remaining Storm Vortex cars, Ryan Borges, who's also your points leader.
Behind them and rounding out our 30-car field, the number 95 of Dale Adkins will start from 29th position, and shotgun on the field outside of row 15. 30th position to another Storm Motorsports entry, the 20 machine of David Wing. So 30 cars going to do battle here tonight for the Michigan International Speedway. Let's real quick talk some track facts about this racetrack. This track is located in Brooklyn, Michigan, has a capacity crowd of 72,000 and is owned and operated by the International Speedway Corporation. Broke ground back in 1967 and opened the following year in 1968 for a construction cost at that time of $4 to $6 million US. It was designed by Charles Moneypenny and was formerly known as the Michigan Speedway before becoming known as MIS back in 2001. The track itself, a 2.0 mile D-shaped oval at 18 degrees of banking, 5 degrees on the back straightaway, 12 degrees as well on the front stretch, but it is full out, full on. The draft is going to be really a key in this race that will dictate who eventually is going to walk away with the checkered flag tonight, who can work that draft to the best of their ability.
This is a very racy speedway. You will see guys making passes. They'll be racing 3 and 4 wide down the straightaways. And on the apron, you'll see them go in the grass a little bit even, just trying to keep their cars to the close bottom as you can. You do not want to let someone get under you here from MIS. If you get up too high, it gets sketchy. These cars will get aero loose. We'll see them even get aero tight. There will be lots of weird accidents tonight, I can guarantee it. But for the most part, we're going to see some good racing of it as we get ready to go green.
30 cars, a lot of dirty air back at a pack, and high speeds. We're set to get IndyCar action underway for Season 4 of Sunday Money. The field is grouped up behind George Bark. Pace car down and away, and Bark's going to bring us to the green flag, slowly accelerating at a quarter number 4. Green flag in the air, and we're racing from the Irish Hills of Michigan. George Bark leads us to the green flag. He actually checks up, and there goes Brandon Moss-Weiss around him on the outside with William Roberts. Both those cars going to clear that 14 of George Bark.
You can get to the lead tonight. You'll be able to keep it, and that's very vital for Moss-Weiss, although he's going to have a challenge that's going to go to the outside. Kevin McCarthy's going to be battling with him here from the Season 5 of the CORA Sunday Money Series. Kevin McCarthy trying to take the lead from Brandon Moss-Weiss on the outside all by himself. And Brandon will not get a good run off the corner as Kevin does. That's something we'll see a lot of tonight. but it's going to be a lot like Talladega racing, like you will see when we do other broadcasts with other leagues and super speedways. There is a lot of draft involved, and if you can get to help someone, it will certainly push them forward. The only thing is, we say push figuratively, because you cannot literally push someone in IndyCar unless you want to cause the big one, Evan, and that's something we're going to have to watch out for, as Brandon Monsivice is holding off Kevin McCarthy.
There's a lot going on up front. That 09 of William Roberts Jr., he's up on a high side, scored second to last time through, again to his inside. We do have a challenge from the George Bark machine behind them, some side-by-side with Dan Bailey down low. Kevin McCarthy as well in this mix. The number 44 car is going to cross the stripe in P5. He's on that bottom lane tucked in. Dan Bailey up at a high side, going to slide back. You see the inside with the advantage that time through 1 and 2, all riding in that single file line on the bottom lane, trying to get some momentum going for themselves. Monsivice is actually in the catbird seat in this situation, because as strong as that draft is, once you go to the high side, it's hard to make a pass, and it looks like William Roberts Jr. is actually going to be able to get the job done. He actually pulled a little bit of an advantage that time, has half a car length to the good. He'll lead it at the start finish line. A lot of jockeying for position going on inside this first pack of about the top 10, PD, and you know, everybody can sit out here, they can respect each other, they can race clean, but there's no way to not make a mistake. At 200 miles an hour, you see a big checkup right there going backward. Somebody got wheel checked up, and they slid all the way back. Everybody hangs on, a little bit of 3 wide, and it's just such close quarter racing with these open wheel race cars. No room for error, and another car sliding back now.
Brandon Monsivice checked up to let George Bark get in the line, and that bit him bad here. He's falling back fast. That was just too respectful almost. You can't do that in the IndyCar, but we have a challenge for the lead. George Bark, right behind him, William Roberts Jr. He's underneath Bark. Bark is going to try to hold him off on the outside. The outside gets a lot better run off the corner than the inside line. Whenever you're running down low and just hugging that white line, you are not getting the RPMs and speed you do on the outside. So whenever you get to the exit of the corner, the outside line just gets a huge run off, and it usually prevails. We got some 3 wide racing going on here, and oh my goodness, George Bark is trying to hold on to the lead here. George Bark wants to be in that points battle, as we have a good battle going on here. William Roberts to the inside, Bark to the outside. Bark just needs to keep him pinched down low there, and Bark could have a good chance to hold him off, although William Roberts is clear to the lead, so give it to William Roberts, although Bark's going to fight right back on this outside line. George Bark's not one that usually gives up, Evan.
A small mistake at this point in the race could possibly take out 23 plus drivers, as that's the amount of cars that are tucked up within about 1.3 seconds of each other. A lot of 3 wide going on right now back around P21 car. Going to make a move to the apron. The 60 of Patrick Skyhill sits right now in the middle of that. Oh, actually just made contact as he drives right now. Him and Charles Starks got together. Luckily, those wheels didn't touch, and they kind of got into the chassis of each other, which is, if you got to choose one place to make a little bit of contact, that's it, because once you get these tires hooked up on each other, it can go downhill very quickly from there. Up front, you see a little bit of a drafting action going on. William Roberts up on the outside lane, pushing as he works down on the inside. You see the 14 of George Bark. He's got help. Colton Berkey helping him out up on a high side, and not pushing on each other per se, but tucked up right on each other. A little bit of bumping going on there to try to help each other out. It has George Bark with the advantage. You see he's trying to stay up there, PD. Help that number 80 with a Berkey out. Meanwhile, William Roberts Jr. kind of all by himself on that bottom lane for quite a few rows. Everybody seems to have jumped up to the high side.
And George Bark is going to continue to lead this race. William Roberts is not making any ground on the inside. And oh, we have someone get way high up there. That's that aero tightness I talked about earlier. Right now, though, Bark is working really well with Colton Burke, and it's just some great battling going on here as always in IndyCar. These cars will not get away from each other the whole race. They're going to be right on top of each other till the very last lap, and that's always exciting. Remember, like last week's analogy, we race Michigan with the nationwide car here, and that's like racing a boat with wheels. These are like racing an airplane with wheels here, folks, as we have a battle for the lead going on. And here we go. Colton Berkey is going to try to take it away from George Bark. Bark holding strong on the outside, though. Can Colton Berkey lead a lap? Every lap has been down to thousandths of a second range, and this one's going to be no different. Give it to Bark by 7 one-thousandths of a second as we have some great racing continue on in these very lightweight, fast Indy cars.
And Martin Porter was the car that you saw slide up to the high side. He slid all the way back to 9th position. He's trying to get back up to the field, goes and makes a move on Martin Porter back here. Obviously, he's trying to get back up through this field. Still side by side. throughout the whole top 10 right now. Some of our big movers so far in this race, Dylan Acker, who sits in 6th right now, he started in 12th, so he's moving up through the field, as well as James Brown. And then we got a caution, trouble behind our leaders. Yellow flag is out. Somebody is slowed down on the entrance to pit road.
It's
caution
the
flag
21.
will fly, and we're going to have to slow him down, hearing possibly the number 31 car. That would be the entry. Actually, there is no 31 car, so that's not the cause of the yellow in that one, but we are slowing him down. Caution flag is out. There are a couple guys that are working with some damage, and it happened at quarter number 4. We had a huge incident with the 12 car, Tim Johnstone, in a 3-wide situation. Looks like a little bit of net code, a little bit of 3-wide going at it, and contact between Johnstone and Mitchell Reeves sends that 12 car sideways. PD goes back up the racetrack at a huge lick into the outside wall. His car goes up in the air and does a couple of flat spins. Patrick Skyhill was the other car that got involved in that. He kind of got checked into the wall with nowhere to go. So caution will fly for those two. Johnstone's machine absolutely destroyed. And he's going to drive it down pit road at a 45-degree angle. But that thing does not look like it's in good condition.
Indy cars are very, very easy to destroy here. And it just happens like that. You have no time to react. You're going so fast. You're going almost 225 into the corners, and especially into corner number 1, as we see him slow down. One cool feature of the Indy car you will see is these cars pace around under caution. You'll see a little red light flashing on the back of them. That means the caution is out. The second race control turns on the caution period and sends the pace car out. The little red light will start blinking, so that's always something I've liked. Just kind of a little warning to let the drivers know that there's a caution out. As we will see our leader, George Bart, come down pit road. It doesn't look like he's followed by many others, but George Bart coming down pit road, early strategy of him.
Yeah, he comes in, and again, service is much quicker in these Indy cars than most others because the car goes up at once and all 4 tires are changed, and George Bark is out and away in the number 14 car. So he returns to the racing surface, cycled quite far back. At least right now he sits behind Everett Lane, who has scored in 19th position. Obviously going to get an updated positioning on where they all sit the next time around. But everybody was still on the lead lap at that point. Tim Johnstone, who got the brunt force of that incident, somehow was able to keep the engine, didn't lose the engine rather in that exchange, drove it to his pit stall, got a quick fix, and he's not even going to fall off the lead lap. So on this next restart, we'll still be sitting, PD, with 30 cars strong, battling on the lead lap just about a tenth of the way through.
One person you have to show some early concern for is Ryan Borges. Now, I do understand that machine did bring his machine down to pit road, but he was not making ground up at all. He's racing right about 26th where he is right now, so he is by no means an IndyCar expert. He was very nervous about this stint, and the points leader could have a struggle during this period, although hopefully we see him get it together, but you never know. And remember, this is anyone's race too. This is sort of like Daytona, as we see some cars very slowing down, a lot of checking up. There's actually a little bit of contact. The 02 of Mitchell Reeves put on the brakes, and the looks as though the number 20 machine, the number 50 of Dustin Lee got right into his right rear tire. And these Indy cars are not strong by any means, and actually bent the wing on Dustin Lee. And if I know anything about the Indy car, I can guarantee you his car is going to be very, very slow. Just that little bit of damage there will cause him to lose the draft. He'll be very tight, and the car will be almost wrecking every lap. And the same goes for the 02. The 02 machine will not be Mitchell Reeves, that is. He will not be able to drive at a sustainable pace either, because that right rear tire got hit and it bends the axle. These Indy cars are very, very weak. Both them drivers, for just about a 30-mile-per-hour hit, they probably got a bunch of damage that's going to hurt their machines, and they're going to have to waste a quick repair to fix it.
Yeah, I don't like that move. It looks like the O2 had to pull over to let somebody by, and, I mean, did go down below the white line, but didn't really give room for people that were side-by-side pacing behind him. And I mean, we had a couple people even have to go to the bottom side around him. So it is going to cause damage on the Reeves machine. He has since gone down pit road and does appear to have gotten that thing back fixed after he actually wrecked coming at a corner number 4, self-spin on the O2 PD via that damage that he got, split it out under caution flag conditions, came back down pit road, now has that body damage repaired, and going to get back up to the tail end of this lead lap right now. But again, everybody's single file at the moment, going to be the one to go this time by, so lights going off on top of the pace car, and field doubling up Interesting to see how far our leader is hanging back off of the pace car. We saw George Bark do it, and I mean, they're not anywhere close to it.
Yeah, that's just something you cannot do in the Indy cars. There's some cars that you can do it in and you'll get away with it. The Indy car is definitely not one. I can't even begin to stress how bad that is, and actually are going to penalize Mitchell Reeves. They're going to give Mitchell Reeves an EOL penalty here for his very, what could have been avoidable contact there. And I just got to think that Dustin, I'm going to be watching Dustin Lee on this restart. His car, he didn't bring it down pit road, and that damaging Indy car, I don't know if you race these much, Evan, but from a lot of experience with these Indy cars, that car is not going to be running up to speed at all, and he could be a safety hazard if he doesn't follow the back quickly, but I guess we'll see on this next restart here.
Oh, the IndyCar Oval Series is my favorite series on iRacing, except for the fact that when somebody tries to give you a bump draft at a quarter number 2 on Texas on lap 2 of 50 and wrecks you, and your race is done. But other than that,
Evan never forgets.
It is a it is a very tricky balance to find in these cars. They don't have fenders, so don't be beating and banging. We saw a little bit of it. Where a couple of people got together where the front tires of one guy kind of got right in between the tires of the other guy. So they're just kind of hitting each other on the side of the cars, no harm, no foul. You can't be bouncing off wheels on each other, though. It is very hard to properly simulate those kind of a physics. So things can get pretty ugly if that is to happen. Pace car down and away, feeling doubled up at a quarter number 4, coming to a restart, and it is going to be the Colton Berkey machine in control. Green flag in the air, back underway we go. William Roberts Jr. going to follow the 81 through, as it is Dan Bailey up on that outside lane who did not get going. He'll tuck into third, side by side for fourth.
Great battle going on for fourth up here. These drivers are trying to get it all in this first lap. It's actually now for fifth, as he will fall back a little bit as Martin Porter. The battle for the lead now. Here we go. Colton Burke and William Roberts. William to the outside. He wants to take the lead from Colton Berkey. Berkey is holding strong on the inside. It's going to be hard, though. William Roberts is going to have a good run off the corner. But Colton can go all the way down to the apron. He'd even take it to the grass if he wanted to. We will see some drivers do that tonight. It's not the smartest thing to do, but it will happen. As William Roberts is battling right here. Will he be able to get clear of Colton Berkey? Help is a-coming, and they tend to like to help the outside. But for now, Colton Berkey will get clear, and William Roberts going to have to settle for second. As we have oh no, never mind. Here comes William Roberts with the amazing draft. These IndyCar side drafts can be really relevant tonight, as we are side by side, 2 rows deep. Look at James Brown, the top 5. He's come from deep in the field, as he's going to get really loose on the outside. And now the battle's for third, Evan.
Got a battle for third on back, still going strong. 2 wide, a couple of rows deep right now at the start-finish line. That was led by Dylan Ackert, who sits on what's going to be the inside of that second battle on the racetrack right now. Leaders still side by side for a moment. William Roberts Jr. continuing to peek to the outside of Colton Berkey, who leads. When he slides back, it does allow Dylan Ackert to technically get to the inside of him, which would make it a side-by-side battle for second. But then off the corner, you're going to see the 09 car be able to pull back up alongside Colton Berkey. So bottom lane with the advantage, into the corner, outside lane with the advantage, out of the corner. Does Dylan Ackert try to force this 3 wide? Otherwise, he's kind of stuck behind our leaders. Behind him, 3 wide around James Brown. The double O is in the middle of that, and he'll make it a double file battle by kind of jumping up in front of and protecting his position on Damon Gilbert. But still very fluid up front. Dylan Ackert's going to have to make something happen, because if he just stays in line, our leaders are just going to keep swapping about like this side by side. He'll have nowhere to go.
Good battle, though, for second right now. William Roberts and Dylan Ackert. Ackert going to give him a good run for his money, but he's going to have a problem. Colton Berkey right in front of him is going to be clogging him up there. So we're going to actually have some more significant battling going on here. Dan S. Bailey trying to help the outside line. James Brown is really arcing his corners. Don't know why that is. I mean, it could be helping him. Yeah, I'm sure he knows a ton more than me. James Brown, clearly one of the more seasoned veterans, being the CEO of CORA. He's running 5th right now, so good run going for that double O machine, as he's going to dive it low underneath that Dan S. Bailey machine. Give 4th to James Brown. And he's going to try to take the lead here. He wants, out of the second here, he wants it all. He's going to get a good draft, go to the outside. He is helping William Roberts. And whenever he gets by, he just wants to get by these 3. I think the double O is the fastest car on the track right now, Evan. He's coming through the field as you guys go on board with the 00. But right now, James Brown is just flying through these cars like it's nothing.
Yeah, we're on board with him right now. 13 positions in the positive. Goes to the outside. He wants to help the outer lane charge, which means he's going to be side by side with the 29 of Dylan Ackert. He trails behind Yonata William Roberts. Inside line will now become clear, as it appears that Roberts Jr. is starting to slowly go backwards. And again, he's able to essentially pull up next to Colton Berkey for the top spot the majority of the time on corner exit, but it's corner entry right there. You see the 81 car just get such a run. He's able to pull through, and he'll actually become clear by quite a distance now over the 09 car. And now this has opened up a window of opportunity for the 29 of Dylan Ackert, who again went to the inside and was just riding patiently behind Colton Berkey, still doing so, but now because of that momentum on the inside line, has now pulled himself up side by side, and now you see James Brown jumping ship off of the outside lane. He'll duck down to the inside, and now he's going to want to work with that 09 machine, rather against the 09, and with the 29 of Dylan Ackert down on the bottom. Behind them right now is Dan Bailey, who sits 5th position. A lot of side by side. You got Damon Gilbert, Nick Doucette in that mix, and a lot of 3 wide, 2 wide as well, all the way through the top, I want to say 13, which is our lead pack of cars.
Still battle for the lead, though. 3-car battle right now. These guys trying to get at it here. And that's going to actually simmer down to second place battles. William Roberts is not going at all. He's on the outside, falling back quick here. Significant battling going all the way through this field right now. I'm looking right now at that number 14 machine of George Bark. He's in 10th right now. He had one more dominant car. He's going to try to find his way back through this field. As we see James Brown go up to 3rd here, though, the 00 machine is taking over the 3rd position. He's drafting right behind the number 29 of Dylan Ackert. And Ackert is having a great run himself, too. So, 3 wide. Hold on, folks. This could get tight. James Brown
in the middle.
He wants to keep hold of this thing. Doucette on his outside. And Damon Gilbert right there, too. This is pretty intense racing we got very early in this event. And it's all going to simmer down here, though. Oh, contact! That's going to send one car up the track. I believe that is the number 68 of Damon Gilbert. Gilbert up the track, and just remember, a little bit of contact in the Indy car can really hurt your car. If the battle for second is still going strong, as we expect to see it go the whole race.
And that contact sent Gilbert's machine up the hill a little bit. He only slid back to what was going to be a side-by-side battle with Nick Doucette. They single file out now, and James Brown sits side-by-side behind that side-by-side battle that's actually still going on for second. Colton Berkey leads at William Roberts Jr., not giving up on high side, has slid back at sometimes more than 4 car lengths. And then the next lap, he's right back up alongside the 81 car, but it does appear that it is Colton Berkey who is in control of this field right now. As much control of in front of a field as you can be with these Indy cars, because we are now 2 wide, 3 rows deep, tucked up on within 0.2 of a second of each other. Are the top 6 cars on track right now. You see James Brown, who slid backwards, trying to get back up through the field. It's actually Damon Gilbert behind him, who's trying to assist him through. And that last time by the start-finish line, top 7 cars within 0.3 of a second of each other. Things very tight up at the front of the field.
Very tight it is. As the battle it's just raging this whole race. I mean, we're going to talk about this whole thing. IndyCar, certainly one of the more exciting series that CORA has to offer, and it's proven up to its name right now as we see William Roberts once again trying to make a run at Colton Berkey. Oh, James Brown way high, tried to arc the corner, and it cost him big time. He'd fall back about 2 more positions, make it 3 now as he's being passed by the number 08 of Dan Bailey. He's battling very hard, though, these guys. They're all going at it. Speaking of going at, George Bark now is going to dive underneath that 00 machine. Bark trying to find his way back to the lead. There's a big hornet's nest in front of him, though, that he's going to have to negotiate his way through. And it's going to be difficult as George Bark is still flat flying here. That pit stop, taking them tires, maybe giving him a little bit of advantage. 3 wide in front of him. Hold on, folks. James Brown to the way outside, as that's going to leave the door open for George Bark. Once again, George Bark going up the middle. George Bark looking to make it 3 wide here. As we have a machine bringing it down pit road, that is the 44 of Kevin McCarthy. We'll try to get an update on that when it becomes available. But for right now, the battle is still intense up front as we have George Bark taking it 3 wide, trying to go to the top spot, Evan.
And James Brown can't catch a break. He just wants to stay up front, and he's always the one that's being forced 3 wide. Last time he got split. This time he's been forced to the outside. George Bark going to go to the inside now as he continues to try to get through this field. He's going to be making that move there down in that middle groove. And now caution going to fly. We got trouble behind our leaders. Big trouble at a quarter number 4. Somebody's out in the grass. It is Charles Starks, the number 99 machine, with heavy suspension damage on that machine. That one looks like it has met the fence. And oh yeah, big trouble in quarter number 4. Marcus Babb over the radio is taking responsibility for it, and it was caused by his number 26 machine. Slid up the hill just a little bit while that battle was going on, and corners number 3 and 4 turned the Charles Starks machine around sideways, and that car made heavy contact with what's going to be the left side of that car into the outside retaining wall, back down on track, and has to bring it down pit road. That machine as well, the suspension and the steering very skewed out on that, so he'll come down. Hopefully, if he still has a quick fix, we'll take care of that, and he'll get back out on track and possibly even be able to hang on to his lead lap. We do have 2 drivers, though, that have gone down a lap, both Ryan Borges and Tim Johnstone. Interesting to see that.
Very interesting to see. Be interesting to see. The leaders are all going to come down this time. I believe William Roberts is in, Colton Berkey, and they're all coming in. Actually, one machine stayed out. I believe that is Dan S. Bailey, and it is Dan Bailey. But for the most part, all the leaders coming down pit road. We see a few others staying out, such as Everett Lane. Should be interesting to see. The IndyCar pit stops are probably the easiest car to get a good pit stop in. We'll watch William Roberts here as he's going to bring it down to his pit stall. All you have to do is make it into your stall, and it should be very simple. They're going to jack the car up, put all 4 tires on as we see his car go up. Quick fuel to have very quick...
We had a wreck on pit road.
Oh, God.
We had some trouble on pit road entry, and something happened. Headed into their stall. It looks like Salicardi with trouble in the number 39 machine was coming down pit road, and it just spun out at 40 miles an hour. Possibly trying to listen into his radio, and
it looks as though
I'm listening to the throttle. Doesn't sound like he downshifted. It sounds like he just, accelerated and spun out.
In the IndyCar, he was probably in first gear, and you have to start. In the restarts, we should know you have to start in second gear, unless you're very good with the IndyCar. Because if you hit the gas hard in first gear, I think he was trying to hit the gas to get up to pit road speed limit. It'll just spin right out on you. You don't even have to turn it or anything, since it is such a very lightweight car. So
tried to get back going, and he lost about 3-4 spots total. Don't think that was going to penalize anybody else, because in theory, if you enter pit road before the person that is supposed to be in front of you, you will be penalized. But don't believe that's going to be a factor, because they were already down on the entry to pit road. So don't expect that to be a problem for those guys. But it was very interesting. Now we see Dan Bailey coming down pit road, stayed out, get a bonus point in the back pocket there, leads a lap, comes back down, and that is going to cycle back out to the lead spot. Take a look as how we're going to cross the start-finish line in this one. Going to put Everett Lane to the top spot. Everett, another one of the drivers that did not come down pit road. Quite a few people staying out that possibly have pitted on that earlier yellow we saw.
Look at 7th. I noted that Kevin McCarthy had just joined him down pit road. Kevin, actually, that might have been strategic, because now he's up in 7th, and he has basically the same tires and fuel as everyone behind him. So possibly strategy of the race so far by Kevin McCarthy here of him.
Well, I don't think you can really have a strategy that you're going to pit and then a caution will fly and save you in that regard. But the stars aligning, we'll say, possibly in the 44 camp. That works. And just shy of the 1/3 mark in this race, Everett Lane still leading this race. Or actually, well, he's now up in the lead. He qualified 22nd. And we can see pitting. We saw people on that first caution. They pitted, cut it back in the back there. Not too relevant. George Bark pitted from one of the top spots. That was Cut Wanger. But right now you can tell, because of where the people that's top 5 right now started this race. Everett Lane, who sits at the top spot, started in 22nd. David Wink, who sits second, started in 30th position. It was an 18th place start for Mike Morrow, who's 3rd right now. 4th is Patrick Scohill, who started 21st, and starting back in 29th position, that's second to last, was Dale Adkins. He's a top 5 car right now. Then the next set of 5, 6th through 10th, all top 6 cars on the start of the race.
Coincidentally, Ryan Borg is still struggling back there. He's in 27th.
Well, he was a lap down, so...
I just don't think the Indy cars are distinct, Evan. He noted before the race that he expected to struggle. I don't know if he expected to struggle this much tonight. Hopefully we can see him get up there. I know he definitely wants to be a championship contender when the chase comes around, but you have to be good in all the cars if you want to be a chase contender, and the Indy car is no exception to that rule, as we just got 1 to green on the restart. So in just a 1 lap time, we will be seeing Everett Lane and David Wenk leading them down. And should be very interesting to watch here, as we will see these guys dual battle once again in this very quick pace. We're already on lap 32, folks, out of 100. So this very, very quick paced IndyCar race. These things, this is a short race compared to a lot of the races we've seen lately, Evan.
Want to make note as well that this is a fixed setup race. Typically, and in the earlier races, we saw that the races would, kind of flip-flop between a fixed race and then an open race. 1 week ago at Atlanta was a fixed race for the final race of the B cars. Both this weekend and coming up on January 4th for the next IndyCar race from Watkins Glen International. That one also going to be a fixed setup race, followed by 3 open setup races in a row with the Gen 6 car. So the setups and the order that those go in changing up a little bit as well as the season progresses.
So that will definitely play a factor late in the season. I expect to see that be a very interesting thing to factor. Brandon Monsivice, I think, might have just brought down pit road to top it off. Not 100% sure on that one. Yeah, he did. Brandon Monsivice did bring it down to top it off. So that was good to see Brandon try a little bit of different strategy there as we get ready for yet another restart here, Evan. It's going to be led down by Everett Lane. Pace car is off down in the way. Green flag in the air. Everett Lane takes off. He gets the advantage right off the restart. And pulling into second will be David Wenk. Everything's going to get single file here for the most part. Something we haven't seen at all tonight, Evan.
In top 4 single file from there on back, side by side at an abundance of it. George Bark on the outside. He's under attack. William Roberts to the inside in the number 09 car. That one just for about 7th position. Behind them, a lot of side by side going on throughout the pack as everybody tried to get themselves sorted out. Up front, David Wenk, who was making it outside lane work, unable to get clear of the 24 of Everett Lane, put up a fight for it. And now we see Mike Morrow with the run. Does he go to the apron? Does he try to force the issue? No. He'll stay tucked down in line as the 24 takes a defensive line and rides that apron to be able to hold that lane shut. We remain side by side up front. Top 3 cars within 6/100ths of a second. And now it's going to be Morrow to the inside. Contact with David Wenk. 20 car not happy over the radio. He's going to lose some time. Checks up, gets back going. That's going to open up the door. Here comes Patrick Skyhill up at 4th.
Skyhill having a great run tonight. Right behind him, Kevin McCarthy trying to make his way to the front. Here comes McCarthy. He is battling right now with George Bark. Bark having a great run on the outside. And I'm hearing that Alan Larson has an update on the Kevin McCarthy machine.
I got it going here. I've been gone for a while, so I'm still starting to get things going here. But I wanted to let you all know that Kevin doesn't normally race with us in the CORA series, but he likes to race these Indy cars, and he's pretty good at it. And I think that strategy that he pulled off there when he pitted early, I believe that was just a strategy that he tried to pull there, but he doesn't normally race with us. He is normally the officiator of these events, and he likes to get out here and mix it up with the Indy cars.
And he's doing quite well and did it very good in an opening stint and sits top 5 right now. 3 wide back around P9, the 09 of William Roberts in the middle of it all. He'll be able to single or rather double file that out as he gets back down to the inside. Now more 3 wide behind him. You see Damon Gilbert, who's way up on the high side of that one. Dominic Dyball in the middle. Dale Atkins down on the bottom in that whole exchange there. They are cycling through, again, this battle just around the tail end of the top 10. And it's not going to be a different concept to see a lot of side-by-side. It's the way that these race cars go. David Wenk is still working up on the outside of your race leader, Everett Lane, who is in that lead position right now. 2nd and 3rd, or rather 3rd and 4th behind them. Single file at the moment. Skyhill's been able to get around Mike Morrow. Kevin McCarthy and George Bark have now caught up to make this a 6-car lead pack battle. Side by side, 7th, Colton Berkey and William Roberts. They've slid about 3/10 off of those leaders because they are fighting for that position. But again, it's just so hard if you want to make a pass on the outside. We've seen it all night long. David Wenk not giving up, though. Still trying it. I think later on in the race, we'll see guys maybe start to get a little bit more aggressive and try some sort of a crossover move and whatnot. But David Wenk, essentially, although he is fighting Petey, just kind of riding around as well. Doing the same thing every lap, sticking to the high side and just trying to log some laps here while staying up in one of those top spots.
Oh, contact between
wow.
David Wenk and Everett Lane. Wasn't hard enough. Hit him right in between the wheels. Lucky there for them. But Everett Lane, definitely one of the best looking paint schemes in the field tonight, I believe. Not a lot of guys have custom Indy cars. The top 2 do, though. That's a fun thing to note. Although that contact there could have easily hurt him. Lucky no damage was gained by either of them as Patrick Skyhill is going to catch up right behind him. Patrick's going to help David Wenk. Caution is out on the speedway. Looks as though we have cars spinning out on the back
stretch.
here.
After the yellow.
Oh,
Yellow
another
was out, Petey, and Tim Johnstone just got checked into the fence by Jason Halverson. Caution flag is out, and it was the 8 car who, when the caution was flown, 8 car kind of came up the hill a little bit. Martin Porter hit Jason Halverson, and Halverson just nailed Tim Johnstone. Both of those guys got hard into the fence. This was after that caution flag was thrown, Petey. You have an update for what the yellow actually was for.
Actually, Evan, I believe that was what the yellow was for. I don't see any other wrecks before that, and that happened right when the yellow flag came out. So I actually have to believe that was the caution. I saw wrecking on the backstretch, and I believe it was them 2 cars, though. I could be wrong here, but do you have any updates on what the caution was? Because I do believe that might have been it.
Taking a look at the pace car, and the all-reliable setting my iRace into view 50 cars, and there's only 30, but I can't see them all, so I can't even tell when the lights were out. But caution flag was out, and I started to go through the field, and then I saw the wreck. So unless there was some sort of a lag in that regard, that could have been the cause of the yellow, but the trusty iRacing on that one.
Yeah, because I'm not seeing any other wrecks. I mean, I don't know. The pace car lights are still off whenever them 2 wreck, though. I think that might have been the cause of the yellow there.
Yeah, again, I went back to double check when the lights actually came on the pace car, but for some reason the pace car was not there. Because that would just be, it was there before the lights went on, it disappeared, and then the lights went on a little bit later, so I had no idea. But all I know is caution was out. I was looking at our leader and started looking through the field, and then they wrecked. So anyways, nonetheless, there are 2 cars involved in that. That's at a quarter number 2. Pace car is leading the field around. David Wink is your current race leader. We've had a couple of guys pit for the top spot. George Bart, Kevin McCarthy round out the top 3, and just shy of the halfway point, get a step away for our first commercial break. You're watching the Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Money Series for the Michigan International Speedway. More IndyCar action on the other side.
We are seconds away from the first green flag.
Well, Back live for the Michigan International Speedway with the CORA Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Buddy Series Season 5 on LSRTV tonight. Round 9 in the works from the Irish Hills of Michigan. First race that we're seeing with the Indy cars, and David Wenk leads at the moment. And closing down the halfway point, PD working on lap 43 of 100 under a caution flag condition. Green flag going to be coming up this next time by for a restart. And we've seen a handful of incidents so far. They haven't made them big quite yet. We have seen a lot of 2 and 3 wide action up front, which has been very exciting. But again, you guys can make this close. And we've seen a couple of times where these guys have got away lucky with that contact. It's not going to be like that all night long. It doesn't matter how good you are. Very difficult to keep it 3 wide at 220 miles an hour. And something's got to give at some point. And as this race progresses and as the intensity picks up, it's only going to get that much more aggressive. And that's when things can get ugly very quickly. And with the speeds that these guys are going, the reaction time is very dismal. So these guys really got to be up on the wheel here, and they are for this restart. David Wenk going to be in control. Pace car is down and away, and we get set to get back at it. Green flag is going to fly here momentarily. 20 car in control. Now on the accelerator. Green flag there. On we go. And Kevin McCarthy, who we just talked about, did not get a good restart at all. He'll slide back from 3rd to 4th, and he'll actually keep a nose on the inside of William Roberts, so he'll be able to challenge, but he laid back quite a lot off that 20.
And that'll give the lead to David Wenk here. David Wenk to the point here in the IndyCar Series. He couldn't qualify the greatest tonight. He qualified. Actually, David Wenk started 30th. He started shotgun on the field. Now he's leading. So he could, if he, there's still a lot of racing to go, obviously. But right now, from last to first, I don't think he's doing too shabby. But his biggest issue is he has the pole setter right behind him. George Bark trying to battle. And right now, there's not a lot of movers. David Wenk really being the only big mover in the top 10 right now. Dustin Lee and James Brown are the only other ones, but David Wenk did a spectacular job. The battle for the lead has really calmed itself right now. We're going to look back here to the top 10. Really, everything's calmed down right now, Evan. This is a rare occurrence here with the IndyCars.
Yeah, again, we are still side by side for P5, but it's not in a very aggressive manner. Just kind of rotted around at this moment is where Colton Berkey sits up by the outside lane to get everybody trying to work the draft, get whatever they can out of it. Berkey now has some help. Damon Gilbert, you see he gets up on the back bumper, essentially pushes him with that draft a little bit on the straightaways through the corner, boosted that number 81 machine past the William Roberts entry, now right up alongside the Kevin McCarthy machine. That will be a side-by-side battle for 3rd, nearly contact again. They got right up on each other's wheels. That one could have gotten ugly very quickly. They remain side-by-side now as George Bark jumps up to the outside and essentially puts a block and slows down the 81 of Berkey. Now Bark now back in line, now back up to the outside lane, and now after that valiant charge by the 81 PD, he'll find himself tucked up behind George Bark in the 2nd car in line on the outside with nowhere to go.
Make the battle now for the first position between Wenk and Bark. Bark wants to get the lead. He's trying to win just his 2nd race in the season. He's had a rough time.
They both got it.
And they both clear him. Clear to the lead. Give it to Bark and Colton Berkey. They've worked together in this race a lot. Drafting partners aren't the most significant thing.
That was a good move.
They made it work, Evan, and that was very good for them. Shuffle back David Wenk to 3rd. Kevin McCarthy is now going to battle him for 3rd, though. We heard Alan talk about Kevin earlier, and here comes Kevin for 3rd. Kevin, making one of his rare CORA starts, is doing well. Kevin will not race anything. He doesn't think he's competitive tonight. He sure thinks he's competitive, Evan.
And a big fan of the Indy cars he is, so making his appearance tonight in the 44. He'll slide back to P4. As it has been the David Wenk entry who will stay clear on him. And essentially, it is Colton Berkey and George Bark that are pushing at the front of the field. I talked about if somebody tried to draft me at Texas and that did not work. That was on a quarter exit. You can essentially push if it's on a straightaway just a little bit. They've opened up a little bit of a gap that's going to be 0.2 of a second over Wenk, who trails by Kevin McCarthy. Damon Gilbert side by side. Now to the middle as James Brown thought about it. That battle involves William Roberts Jr. as well. It is for 5th on back.
Battle for 3rd, though. That was between Damon Gilbert and James Brown's getting up in there, too. William Roberts involved. That's actually for 5th, folks, sorry. But James Brown is coming to this field fast. He's so good in these Indy cars. It's been just a fantastic thing to watch tonight. The battle's still heated here for 5th. The battle for the lead, though, is a lot calmer. It looks like Colton Berkey and George Bark might have a little bit of an alliance. They're willing to just sit here and be calm with each other. So that's certainly a lot of respect. Oh, caution's out on the speedway. We have a car. Oh, it's James Brown. Hard hit. Someone destroyed him. He's flipping down the backstretch. It's a violent wreck. James Brown is still wrecking. and just like that, James Brown's fantastic run ends in flipping. Looks like what happened is he's going down in corner number 2. In front of him, actually, Damon Gilbert made contact with William Roberts and sent James into the wall, and James just spun down the track and just got clobbered by Sal Accardi. James flipped, and right behind him, that Damon Gilbert machine also got a pretty bad end of that. He was flipping too, so we saw our first violent wreck of the night, Evan, and that was pretty violent.
Yeah, the 0-0, an innocent victim on the hands of the unit of William Roberts Jr., who slid up. And I said once the suspension in these cars gets messed up, it can get pretty interesting. And it was actually equally as hard as a hit to begin with by Damon Gilbert, who ended up on his lid. And then obviously James Brown, the brunt force of this incident coming secondarily after he spun down the racetrack, got nailed by Sal Accardi, spun across the racetrack, and one of the moments that you're very glad that this is sim racing, because the James Brown machine kind of did a pirouette right into where the driver area would be on Nick Doucette's machine, who got a little bit of damage on that one. Doucette's car actually not too badly torn up from the way that those machines actually had made contact. He may come down pit road to get anything fixed, but surprised that Doucette was able to get off with such minor damage after that machine came flying into the cockpit of that car.
Yeah, he got away with that one. Fortunate there. But that'll bring us under caution. Damon Gilbert had a quick repair. James Brown, he had a quick repair too. So those machines will get back into the race. And James Brown went through the field once. No reason he can't do it twice. Same with Damon Gilbert. So I'm sure definitely not what they wanted to see, but it shouldn't affect them too awfully bad here. Another update on our points leader, Ryan Borges, is 32. He's still in like that 24th position, folks. Tonight is just not the 32 night. And I keep saying it. I'm probably going to jinx and watch him come back and win the race now, Evan, but so far he has just not shown speed all night, unless he's hiding something to just try and keep his car clean, which might be smart as the points leader to do right now, as we actually saw some pit stops here, that there's going to be a huge shuffle in position. While half the field pitted and half of it stayed out, Evan.
Well, you've already jinxed the James Brown machine after you told everybody how good he was doing. He got sent up into the wall and couple times up and over, so the broadcast curse strikes again. We are past the halfway point in tonight's race. Let's give you a full field rundown. Right now, your race leader, the 44 of Kevin McCarthy. Dominic Diepal sits second. Everett Lane is third on the racetrack. Mark Morrow is fourth, and pole sitter George Bark rounds out the top 5. Colton Berkey is 6th position. 7th, Patrick Skyhill. Dale Adkins at 8th, 9th to William Roberts Jr., and Dylan Ackert, top 10.
11th to Jonathan McMinn, 12th to Dan S. Bailey, 13th to the young gun spectacular racer Nicholas Doucette, 14th to Martin Porter, 15th to Charles Starks, 16th to John Pancilia, 17th to Joel Wood, 18th, the guy who starts second tonight, Brandon Monsivais, sliding back a little bit here, Mitchell Reeves in 19th, and 20th to Dustin Lee.
Couple of these spots going to shuffle up because I have a couple of people coming down the top off the second time by, but David Wank is 21st, 22nd Accardi, Mark McFadden, Ryan Borges, Nathan Sedlak through 25th positions. Damon Gilbert is 27th, and Jason Halverson, forgot to mention, 26th. 28th is James Brown back, and obviously this continues to shuffle, but there's the majority of your field because these guys come down pit road, so the scoring loop being halfway down pit lane, some of those positions being shuffled up in a moment. But it is still going to be that 44 of Kevin McCarthy in the lead. Let's talk some facts about these Dallara Indy cars. Almost called them the DW12s again, not the quote-unquote new Indy car that is available on the iRacing service. It is the Circa 2011 chassis, which is the classic IndyCar styled body. It's with a 3.5-liter, 213 cubic inch V8 at 650 horsepower, 6-speed paddle shift gearbox in these with a fuel injection and 120-inch wheelbase, and weighing in at about 1,525 pounds without a driver. So these machines very light, very fast, which we've talked about quite a bit tonight. A polar opposite, essentially, of what we've been racing the last few weeks, which is a very heavy and a rather restricted NASCAR B-car stock car, which we want to talk, the boat with wheels as opposed to the airplane with wheels was your analogy, I believe. Want to run you down to the top 10 finishers if you weren't with us 1 week ago from the Atlanta Motor Speedway for round 8, the final run in the opening stint with the NASCAR B-cars. Damon Gilbert finally broke through. He took home the checkered flag. Dustin Loynes got a second place result. Dominic Diebal started 30, finished third, and it was George Bark with the top 4. Nick Doucette rounded out the top 5. Scott Bailey, Everett Lane, 6th and 7th. 8th to James Brown. Ryan Borges with the 9th, and Mitchell Reeves round out the top 10 in that event as the lights have gone off on top of the pace car.
We've seen some spectacular racing up to this point in the season, so I expect to see some more. Sorry about that there, folks. I had a technical difficulty on my end. But this restart's going to be interesting. Kevin McCarthy is going to be in the lead over Dominic Diebel. Dominic, you remember last week at Atlanta, he had a spectacular race. He came flying through the field. It was actually in the beginning of the race, remember, he was running second, then he hit the wall, spun through the grass, fell back to dead last. In the closing laps, he came back and finished third, I believe. So Dominic trying to keep his hot streak going, and Kevin McCarthy just wants to get a win. He doesn't race that often, Evan.
And he's liking where he sits right now because halfway home is the control car in this race in that number 44 Honda entry. Lights are off on top of the race car. We are doubled up. Going to be a restart coming up. Everett Lane will be 3rd, 4th to Mike Morrow. Patrick Scotthill is going to round out the top 5 drivers at the moment as the still sitting strong with 29 of 30 cars on the lead lap. The only car that is behind them all tonight is the number 26 entry of Marcus Babb. Other than that, everybody's still in this race and have used up their quick fixes, and they've got fresh race cars. So this restart coming up, pace car is well down and away. McCarthy going to be in control of the field. Green flag back in the air, and 47 laps to go. Contact up on the outside lane. Some checking up right around P10. It looks like it was contact in the Martin Porter machine as he got bounced around a little bit from 8th.
The battle for the lead is strong right now. Diebel's on the outside of McCarthy. McCarthy trying to hold him off on the inside. These drivers anticipate them being able to go all the way to the end on field unless a caution were to come out or something of that sort. But right now they are battling good here. So Everett Lane, he's had a great run tonight. Good for Everett. He's going to be battling with Dominic Diebel here on the inside. Everett to the low side. Diebel up top. And whoa! Power moved all the way into the grass goes Mike Morrow. Mike Morrow to the bottom. And we have a battle for the lead, folks. Diebel and McCarthy. And that one's going to settle out real quickly as actually everything is settled out all the way back to 8th where we have Martin Porter and Charles Starks racing.
Had a close call around 20th position. 3 wide with John Pansula, Nathan Sedlak and company. They keep things going as everybody is still straight, and they've double filed things out at that point. Still side by side for second. Race leader Kevin McCarthy with a gap, and it is going to be Dominic Diebel who clears Everett fast lane for what's going to be P3. Morrow still sits 4th after making that aggressive move down to the bottom. Got the left side tires in the dirt and was unable to maintain position, so he slides back side by side a little bit further on. You got Jonathan McMinn in this mix. He works on the bottom lane. Martin Porter is able to get around him for 6th as Porter using the drafted assistance from the Scotthill machine.
Scotthill trying to keep his machine in contention this race. So all these, we've had a lot of guys have some great runs tonight that we don't normally see up front. Right now, anyone within the top 10, this will be their first win on the season. So this is just great racing right now. And I said top 10, make that actually anyone within the top 15 that is. So right now the way things are going, there's a good chance we see a first-time winner this season, and that's always fun. But right now it's just about who will it be, or unless one of the winners can come from the back right now, as we have a nice battle for the lead. Kevin McCarthy getting shuffled out. He is going to lose the lead to Dominic Diebel. Diebel to the point now with help from Everett Lane and Mike Morrow. He has no help on the outside, McCarthy does, and he's just kind of waiting for a mercenary to come help him up there. But right now, Kevin McCarthy is falling back, and I'm going to report that possibly there was an issue near pit road, Evan.
Dale Atkins is down on pit road. He tried to come in for some reason and blocked him up, spun it sideways, and nailed the tire barrier entering pit road. That was the 95 car, so he's in his stall getting damage services. Unsure why he was coming down pit road fresh off the restart, but nonetheless he is down and getting some damage repairs, so he'll drop off the lead lap. That'll leave us with 28 of them on the lead lap. Dominic Diebel, as you said, has gone to the point. He has Everett Lane behind him, and Mike Morrow battling in a side-by-side battle with Kevin McCarthy. McCarthy going to get it at a quarter number 2 at a huge run by the 44. He's got help behind him. Martin Porter essentially pushing him all the way through this field. Going to get that 44 all the way back up to second.
Give it to him here as he's going to try to fight his way back to the lead. McCarthy is a seasoned IndyCar veteran. He wants to win a CORA race. And here he is to the outside of Dieball. Dieball gonna battle hard on the inside. Will it be enough though to hold off the ever-charging machine of McCarthy? Some great racing going here. Everett Lane getting squirrely. 3 wide, close quarters. Oh my goodness, someone had to go on the apron, but they're still okay. That was Mike Morrow that had to go on the apron. These guys are just going at it hard. Speaking of going at it, look who's coming back to the field here. Colton Berkey. He's found his way back up here. This racing is just getting more intense as the laps wind down. And these guys know they have just 40 laps to go in this spectacular event as the battle is still raging through the whole field. James Brown starting to charge the field. He's doing a great job right now. Always fun to watch James Brown racing these Indy cars. And right now he's trying to find his way back up to the lead where he almost was before he wrecked. So right now things are starting to calm down a little bit, but expect these drivers to go extremely hard in the closing laps of this event, Evan.
Everett Lane is going backwards, just about got split 3 wide, nearly got doored by Colton Berkey. Mike Morrow had to take evasive action. This was all going on in quarters number 1 and 2. Everybody keeps their pointed forward and keeps the lack of fenders. This is keeps the fenders on him, but there aren't any. So they keep him all pointed the right direction. And you see now Everett Lane trying to fit away. He got turned up to the outside wall, hard hit, and around goes Everett Lane, up and over the number 24 car into the outside wall. More trouble now as they try to get around him. We're wrecking at a quarter number 2. Dylan Ackert around, Salicardi in it as well. James Brown collected. Caution flag is out, and that got ugly real quick after Everett Lane got sent into the outside wall. He was in that side-by-side battle that I talked about with Mike Morrow, and he just cut down on him. A little bit of contact there. It sent Everett out to the outside. They were fine, and then I believe it was the David Wink machine who was sitting behind. No, he was well behind this. The incident happening with a car that was down on the bottom. It's going to be the Patrick Skyhill machine. I was trying to avoid the slowing the 17 to Mike Morrow, who got checked up, turned right, absolutely just dumped the 02 of Mitchell Reeves, took them both out, and he's apologizing over the radio again. All he was trying to do was get out of the way, but didn't check the mirrors and just hooked Reeves, and that sent about 3-4. We had 6-7 cars going around. That was a huge wreck at a quarter number 2. The secondary incident, and that is the biggest one of all. Nonetheless, though, Everett Lane destroyed.
Tough break there for the Lane machine. You got to feel for him. He certainly had just a good run going. But, you know, it's racing. It happens sometimes, and this will shuffle the field a little bit, give the lead to Kevin McCarthy with Martin Porter, who's going to be right behind him now. This should create for some more exciting racing as we watch this race continue on.
McCarthy down pit road. That's going to cycle Martin Porter to the top spot. Dieball in as well. Jonathan McMinn stays out. Berkey stays out. Morrow down. Essentially a 50-50 split on this cycle.
Yeah, so some of them bring it. I mean, you can make it on gas from this point, I believe, and but I haven't been involved with these cars in forever, so I'm not 100% sure. But I believe you can make it from this point. But then again, I really wouldn't see what the point of pitting is, so maybe I could be wrong. But I don't know here. It's going to be interesting to see. Some of the guys pit, are tires relevant in IndyCar, Evan? I don't know if these cars have the tire model where it is relevant.
I haven't raced the circa 2011 Indy cars in quite some time, since the DW12s have been out. So I'm unsure, because obviously tire models come out quite frequently at the end of the season. So there's been a couple of recent builds. So not too sure, but at these speeds, we're not really seeing people, getting loose per se. If anything, you guys got guys getting tight. So I don't think it's necessarily a racetrack that would be abrasive to the point that it's really going to put a big emphasis on tires. But we did see guys like George Bark and people that pitted, PD, that didn't get quite up to the field easily in comparison to somebody else. So it'll be interesting to see how that works, especially now that we're getting down to what's going to be the final third of this race in about a lap or two.
Now that I think about it, Evan, why would they update an old relevant car? I mean, it's not like this is used for any official series. This is now one of their $5 cars like the old NASCAR. So I don't really see them updating this car. Would you see any reason for them to update it, Evan?
Yeah, again, I don't know what the... I don't really check all the update notes and all of that, but can't imagine there's too much going on with this car, which I guess gives an advantage to the drivers in this current situation, because it's, maybe if they don't race this car all the time. They're not going to go back to it. There's going to be a lot of different changes when they hit the track this week for practice and the qualifiers as well. It's the same old car, so that could be a beneficiary. Now that I mentioned the qualifiers, but I'll let everybody know who may not be familiar with how things work, the qualifying procedures to make it out on track on Sunday and possibly hit the bank on Monday. Drivers are required to qualify in one of 3 qualifying races held throughout the week on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. The driver must finish in top 12 position in a qualifier to make the show on Sunday. Prior to joining the qualifying race, each driver is required to send a $6 deposit that can be used all week long until they qualify. If they don't make it into the main show, they can request the deposit back or leave it in their CORA account for the next qualifying effort for the next week's race. Now, if a driver does qualify for Sunday money, a portion of the entry fee goes towards the weekly race purse, and a portion goes to the championship fund. All 100% of entry fees are paid back to the drivers as well.
That's a really nice thing about this league. A lot of money on the line, and with the exception of Don Stevenson's dominant run, we haven't seen a lot of repeat winners. So we've seen a lot of different winners so far this season, and it's just been wonderful so far to this point, Evan. I know you've enjoyed doing this series, and I remember when the first race I did for CORA was Michigan, and we just saw a spectacular event there. I remember it came down to the closing laps. There was a late race caution, and I think Stevenson barely edged out Sedlak, and it was just a fun event, as we always see with CORA. So this league is one of the better ones to join if you're looking for a league. Just check out the CORA Racing website. It's CORARacing.com, and you can find out all the info you want on there. One of the best organized websites on sim racing. It's very easy to find what you're looking for on that website, and they even have a spot where you can pay your weekly due there, so please be sure to check out the CORA website.
It's going to be CORA-racing.com for more information on that. And again, the payouts, we talk about the overall season payouts. You got the individual points championship payouts as well as the weekly payouts. Winners each week going to walk away with $30. Those are distributed all the way through 18th position. Going to get some portion of cash. Second, going to get $22 or so. Third place, $17, all the way back to 18th. They will get at least the buck back from what they entered with. So the majority of these guys going to be able to get something back out of it that they can either put in the pocket and leave with, or again, put back into the fund and try to qualify for the following week's race. The individual vehicle championships, again, that we've talked about, obviously there's going to be a points tally for all the races in each specific vehicle. Whoever gets the best points out of all the truck races is going to get $36. That's the same prize for the best of the B cars, the best of the A cars, which we have yet to see. The Indy cars that only see 3 races on the season are going to be an $18 purse as well for the overall individual season points championship total. So green flag getting set to fly. We are doubled up. Pace car is ducked down and is well out of the way as race leader Martin Porter gets set. He's on the gas pedal. Green flag now back in the air and underway once again at the Michigan International Speedway. Now 2/3 through tonight's race, and no trouble for Colton Berkey to get through to second. Already to the outside goes the 81.
So Colton Berkey to that top spot here, or second that is, right behind Martin Porter. Porter has had a wonderful event himself here, but here comes Colton Berkey. With the exception of George Bark, he's had to have the dominant car all night long. So here comes Colton Berkey to the lead. Give it to Colton here. Colton just doing some respectful racing here, folks, and you're enjoying watching Colton have a good run. He was a very exciting driver to watch in these Indy cars, the DW11s as I like to call them, as Colton takes the lead. His good friend and partner throughout the night, George Bark, is having some trouble though. He's back in 27th with Everett Lane. George, he expected a lot out of this night, and I don't think he's going to get there. I don't think there's enough laps left for George Bark. I hope he proves me wrong, but it's just getting late in this event. So it's going to be difficult for him to get through this field, as we see some great racing going on for second right now with Jonathan McMinn and Martin Porter.
Ryan Borges now to a top 16 position, our championship leader at this point. And we got caution, trouble back in the pack. Somebody is around at the start-finish line. Yellow flag is out, and it is James Brown for the second time tonight, hard into the inside wall after he got turned around. And caution flag is out on this one, and he had some assistance after battling side by side. came down a little bit, not expecting the Patrick Skyhill machine. That's the second time the 60's gotten into the left rear of somebody, actually, I believe on back-to-back incidents. Slid up a little bit and just clipped that 00 in what's going to be the left rear tire. James Brown went down, bounced back up the racetrack, and heavy contact with the right side of his car, locked it up, and it slid down and hard into the inside wall again. And he's trying to limp that thing around, Petey. He's out in the grass because of this incident being just past the pit road entrance. In theory, he's going to want to try to get back around, but for anybody that's raced an IndyCar and iRacing knows that's easier said than done because that thing really torn up.
I believe is there only one quick repair tonight? If there's only one, which CORA usually does, I don't know if they have different rules for the Indy cars, but if it is one quick repair, I believe that this might be the end of James Brown night. With the damage he has, I don't think they're going to let him go back on the track, or if they do, his car will be completely incompetent unless he does have a quick repair. I know he already used his first one, and if he doesn't have another one, it's going to be rough for the number 00 machine to continue on in this event, although he is bringing it back around to pit road, so that means he does have some hope in that machine. Although, he just went for a little wild ride there. He's driving it through the grass right now. James Brown.
Sometimes those things won't quite turn according to what you would like, and that's why he is out, and he nearly just flipped it in the grass. So he's trying to limp that thing home. Colton Berkey leads. We're going to step away for the final time tonight during race conditions. You're watching the CORA Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Money Series Season 5 on LSRTV. More racing and first race to the checkered flag for the Indy cars on this campaign. Going to be coming up on the other side. Stay tuned. Much more to come.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Back live from the Irish Hills of Michigan with the CORA Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Money Series. Tonight, the Indy cars out on track, and we're in the final third of this race that has the 81 Colton Berkey in control of this field. Pace car just now going by the start-finish line. Lights have been extinguished, so the restart going to be coming up with 26 laps to go, and still 26 cars on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap right now is the Patrick Skyhill machine. We found out the quick fix number is at 2, and unfortunately, via that incident, James Brown's night will come to a close as he still sits in his stall. He has gotten out of that car, and they're going to be wheeling it behind back to the garage soon as they have too much damage to continue, so his night will be cut short. And now we know that for those guys that have used up maybe 1 or 2 quick fixes, PD, you can't afford another hit.
No, you cannot here. Michigan's a very unforgiving track. James Brown out of this event officially, so very, very heartbreaker to him. You know, thoughts have to be with him right now. I'm sure he really, really wanted to be involved in this, but sometimes things just don't go your way, and we have to move on and look towards the next great IndyCar event that we will see. This is just one of our final 2 broadcasts we're going to see for quite some time. Tomorrow night is the RSR Winter Dash Series, so you'll be seeing that tomorrow night, and then we're going to be off for a while, Evan.
Yeah, we have a couple of off weeks before we get back at it. Obviously, tomorrow night is the final race of our 2014 campaign with the RSR Icebreaker Winter Series coming up with those B cars, and then following the Christmas, New Year's holiday break, we'll be back in action. So make sure to like us on Facebook at Live Sim Racing TV to stay up to date on when all that's going to be happening. Pace car dead out of the way. Colton Berkey in control of this field at a green flag. Gets set to fly. He's on the accelerator. Back and away we go. And Martin Porter going to get a great restart from second spot. He'll duck down into P2. Not that good of a start for the 92. Jonathan McMinn sliding backwards. David Wenk going to put up a fight for third.
David Wenk fighting for third. Colton Berkey is gone right now, folks. Say goodbye to Colton as Jonathan McMinn is trying to hang on to this third possession right now. As he has trouble in his mirror, though, David Wenk wants to get it. And right now, though, they're going to be battling here, and that's going to be a little dash to the finish as we just have 25 laps to go here from Michigan Motor
Caution!
Speedway. Caution!
You got trouble behind these guys.
Goodness,
Hard
this is
hit.
violent.
Dustin Lee
no.
is
Dustin
around.
Lee.
Another car going to go around as well. We had a couple people spinning, trying to get around.
That's the big one.
Replay going up. Mark McFadden is out in the grass. Dale Atkins slowing as well. Pace car is rolling out. Replay going to go up live now. We're going to take a look at what happened. This incident happening in quarters number 3 and 4. Dustin Lee has already taken a tow back to pit road. It was the world's biggest netcode. Side by side with what's going to be the 79 of Joel Wood, PD, and they started to, get to within 3 feet of each other, and the 50 car reacted like he just got run over. Broke sideways. He went hard up the racetrack, and a pretty solid lick into the outside wall for Dustin Lee, and it was Mark McFadden who kind of got hit by that spinning machine, went down, also got bounced back up. He went hard into the fence, and then both these guys came spinning down in front of a few more cars. Patrick Skyhill had to make evasive action to get around that one. 2 more cars wrecking behind the initial incident as they tried to avoid it. Mitchell Reeves went around. He hit the brakes and got run over from behind, as not getting the memo was the Dale Atkins machine. So Dale Atkins running over Mitchell Reeves. So a 4-car incident in total.
Ryan Borges fighting towards relevancy here. He is up to the 14th position at this point, so Borges' crew has certainly got his IndyCar up to snuff here. They probably put some harder compound tires on, because that's something you can do on the IndyCar. They have red and black tires, the black being the harder compound, the red being the softer one. Maybe they changed to the compound to get this car running better. Who knows, but something they did down there is getting that 32 car some new life, and Borges is by no means out of this race. We're going to have a restart here with about 20 laps to go, and it should be very exciting to watch. And right now, this race, it's still, if anyone within the top 15, with the exception of Borges, wins this race, we're going to see a first-time winner. So we're still riding that ship of seeing a first-time winner tonight, Evan.
That obviously still a possibility. If there is no win and you're in this series for the first 19 races to determine our 12th driver field for the chase for the championship. So although a win not going to essentially guarantee your ticket in that battle, still going to obviously get you max points, which never hurt anybody. So obviously every position going to be counting as well. Right now the cutoff sits with Dominic Dieball in over Dustin Lee. That gap is at 18 points between 12th and 13th. Now, given we do have drivers that are in what would be a current qualified position that have announced that they're not going to be making any more starts this season. Don Stevenson coming to mind with 4 wins in 8 races. One of the drivers that has called it quits early for Season 5, and they will not be returning to the racetrack and participating in the series anymore, so he's one of the names that's going to drop back. That's going to open up another spot for somebody else to possibly get into the championship as well. So it just shows that even if you're a guy back here, like guys that are just out of like a tough break for James Brown, not too far out of it, in 18th position, still, a long way to go. Has a hard night tonight, but guys like Dustin Lee, Scott Bailey, Brandon Moss of Vice, even those guys, Damon Gilbert off of a great run 1 week ago. PD that on the outside looking in, that's huge for them. People dropping out means there's only more real estate for them to fight for.
For them to swallow here, and it's going to be a long stretch this season if you cannot make it through the IndyCar stint. This is a very important stint that they have. Like Evan said, there's even a road course at Watkins Glen involved. So this should be very exciting to watch. We're watching these drivers stay very behind the pace car, 1.5 seconds to be exact. This is actually race control ordered to try to avoid incidents, so just a little heads up here by the CORA series. Very fun to watch. So just a little thing to note there, so you guys might notice that. Right now, though, with Colton Berkey in the lead, Martin Porter in second, and Jonathan McMinn in third, all these drivers are trying to get their best finish on the season so far. So it should be fun to watch these guys battle here and try to get their first win and open the IndyCar stint with a win.
Alex, remain on the pace car. Do expect them to go off this next time around, which means this restart's going to be coming up right on the border of, I believe, 21 laps to go in this race. For more information, again, you can check out the CORA stuff, CORA-racing.com. Search in that as well in your web browser or on Facebook for more information on them. Again, next race coming up on January the 4th from the Watkins Glen International. That's the road course for round 10. Back in the IndyCar's final IndyCar race before we head to the Chase, where we have one IndyCar appearance as well, which attributes to the lower payout prize for the IndyCar Individual Vehicle Championship points as opposed to some of the more popular vehicles via the NASCAR stock car entries. Lights are off for the pace car. Hanging back for the pace car is our leader, Colton Berkey. Martin Porter on the outside. I've talked about him quite a bit tonight, PD, but Porter's had a strong night. His fast lane teammates, not so much. It's been a rough night for a few of them, so he's trying to carry them through to what would be a solid finish.
One of them who did have a good night going was Everett Lane. Everett now is struggling back there deep in the field. He's going to try to make his way back to the front, but it's just tough break. He's in 20th now to be exact. He was having a spectacular night in his fast lane, 24, and it's just going to be rough for him to find his way back to this field. But it's certainly not impossible. The wrecks we've seen, there's only 20 laps to go. The racing will only intensify here as the race goes on, and we see some very interesting names up front. This is going to get exciting, folks. Do not turn off your computers now at this point, because we are getting ready to watch some spectacular racing. If you're on your cell phone, be sure to watch this, because you do not want to miss what's going to go down here from Michigan.
Doubled up, and here we go. The 81 in control once again, as he has the final for the last few couple of restarts here. Going to be in control. Hesitates a few seconds, accelerates just before the green flag, drops it off and away is Colton Berkey. Big checkup down on the inside lane. Looks like everybody's able to negotiate that. Some three wide, 2 rows deep, actually around 25th spot. Everybody there gets that sorted out at the time being. At a top 5, meanwhile, single file all the way through to about 13th position.
Colton Berkey got the lead on that restart. He's having a career day here from the Irish Hills of Michigan, leading right now over Martin Porter. Porter in second with Jonathan McKinn in third. Actually gives the second position to McKinn. McKinn's up there now. So it's been a great race so far for him. And McKinn is going to go to the outside here. He is getting pushed from Martin Porter and David Weck. Weck's helping him. And this is just, wow, here they go. This is coming down to the closing laps, 20 laps to go. Can Berkey hold on? He's been the dominant car all day. When will the caution strike? Here we go. Just 20 to go, Evan.
20 laps remain. Last time by the start-finish line, and McMinn going to get left out to dry. To the bottom goes Martin Porter. David Wank through as well, and they're going to make contact as Jonathan McMinn trying to get back in line. Judged that too early. The 20 came up just a little bit, and that could have gotten very ugly as contact with the left front of the McMinn machine caught the right rear of David Wank. They keep him under control, and a little bit of a frustration over the radio via that 20 car, but nonetheless, he remains in third position right now. On the outside is that number 8 car of Martin Porter. Talked about him trying to carry the flag tonight for the Fast Lane Racing team. He sits second on the outside, trying to fight with Colton Berkey. Behind them, Nathan Sedlak, now in the middle of this fight as well. He's trying to find a way around, and he'll duck to the bottom and make an aggressive move as he tries to get around, and he will. He'll solidify that position. Going to make it side by side with the Jonathan McMinn machine.
McMinn trying to get there as he is battling on the outside now, and this is just some great racing. Where did Sedlak come from? Sedlak's now in the mix for the race. Battle for the lead, though. It is between Martin Porter and Colton Berkey, and right now it's just a dead heat. Who's going to get it here? Colton Berkey on the bottom. He's dominated this race. Will Colton Berkey be able to hold him off? Here we go. It's going to be a dead heat at the line. Give it to Berkey by 15 one-thousandths of a second. Berkey, and they make contact. They bump. Send Porter up the track. This is exciting. And oh my, here comes Sedlak. He's matching with the David Wank machine. These two cars are just, this is getting intense. 3 wide. Here we go. Nathan Sedlak making the pass. Who's going to be though? It's tight. Oh my, no, this is too tight. There's no way they'll make it out of here, but somehow they do. And give the lead to Nathan Sedlak.
Big check, oh, trouble, there he goes, turned around, Martin Porter. Down through the grass, and with him is the 44 car as well. No caution, they're out in the grass. It may be thrown as 2 cars now wrecked down the front straightaway. Martin Porter in it, Kevin McCarthy as well. Caution is out, and now the 44 is flipping back up on track. Caution will be thrown from the tower, and we're going to slow him down after something happened to just take hold of air off of the Martin Porter machine. He may have gotten tight or something, Petey, but he just slowed down. Somebody was making a move to the outside on him, and it looks like he let off or something, because trying to listen to his engine, and I mean, he just lost about 15 miles an hour in front of the field. He got turned by Jonathan McMinn, and it was Kevin McCarthy, who had a great night, had nowhere to go, got clipped up and over was the 44 car, got back going, and then got turned up and over again, and the caution flag flies.
What this does is somehow throughout all this madness, we have a new leader in the house, folks, and the leader is Nathan Sedlak. He is one of the few remaining members of, it's kind of sad. The Storm and Vortex guys were killing the competition week in and week out, and this team has dissolved down to Nathan Sedlak, Ryan Borges, and David Wank. So that's what's remaining of that. But, I mean, they're still out of their Storm Motorsports pride, and Nathan Sedlak's going to try to hang on for the win and show that, yeah, we may have lost 2 of our drivers, but we are still here and we are ready to fight for some wins. So Sedlak's going to be in the lead, and this is just going to be fantastic to watch in the closing laps. I mean, I think Colton Berkey has probably the best car on the field tonight, but he lost the lead, so he's not going to control the restart, and who knows what could happen here. And I guess we're about to find out, folks. Hold on.
Not sure if it was the smartest move, but it worked, and it put Nathan Sedlak through to the race lead after he made it essentially at one point 4 wide down on the bottom of the racetrack. An aggressive move that paid off for him, and unfortunately trouble for Martin Porter again. Just lost a whole bunch of speed in the middle of a huge pack of cars, and there was nowhere for anybody to go. And again, that is what has put us under this caution flag condition that's going to set us up for quite possibly a final race restart that's going to be just shy of 10 laps to go in this race. We said at about the halfway point that if we saw 3 wide, and I made a note of it, that we saw people keep going to the outside. About 40 laps in, guy in second, he'd get a run, go to the outside, get a run, go to the outside. I said when it gets down to these final few laps, you're going to see people start to make the crossover, start to throw it down to the bottom. We saw Nathan Sedlak do that as he painted the white line with his left side tires in the quarter number 3. No arc at all. Made it work. Left in P1, and he leads the race at the moment right now over Colton Berkey and Mike Morrow, who sit and round out our top 3 at the moment. 25 cars remain on the lead lap. We have a couple of them that are slow trying to get down pit road. Kevin McCarthy entering Martin Porter had to pull over and allow that 44 to enter before he did to avoid penalizing, so he has slowed down. He'll get back going. Both those cars severely torn up. Believe that they're going to attempt to use, if they do have any remaining quick fixes. It will be interesting to see if they do. Even if so, though, PD, they're going to be outside of the top 20 and obviously not going to be able to get anywhere up to where they were before, but it's salvation at this time. Looks like Porter's going to have a quick fix
McCarthy does.
and the McCarthy machine as well. So they're going to get brand new cars, but they're so far back in the field.
It's almost, I don't want to say it's over, but it basically is over for those machines right now. And something happened, I guess Ryan Borges has been struggling all night, and he just fell back once again. You might wonder why I keep bringing up the Borges machine. Well, he is the points leader, and we're trying to keep tabs on that machine so we can know what the point stands will be. And this is going to be a very poor points night for him, so expect to see things really shaking up in the standings after this one. It's still anyone's battle at this point, and if Borges continues to struggle with the IndyCar like he has tonight, who knows what could happen moving forward. And we still see Sedlak leading this race over Colton Berkey. Sedlak's first time being up front all night, he's going to be leading a restart with just about 10 laps to go. So this just proves that anything can happen. Look at Morrow, he's back up there. Dieball's found his way back to the front. Who knows what's going to happen here. It's going to be wonderful.
And the drivers are letting each other know good luck, basically, because you're going to need some extent of luck to survive this. Light's still on the pace car at the moment. If they do go off this next time around, going to be a restart with 11 laps to go in this race. Still a lot of drivers left in relative contention. The good news, in theory, if you're not a big fan of the IndyCars, is they only make 3 appearances on the schedule. Obviously, tonight at the Michigan International Speedway, January the 4th, when we go to Watkins Glen International for some road action. And then we're going to hit up 3 straight Gen 6 races, head back to the trucks for 2, back to the beat cars for 2, back to the Gen 6 for 2. That rounds out the regular season. The IndyCar is kind of the off. They had to remove the super late models, which I believe will attribute to the increased number of the other stock car races. But then these IndyCars only back one more time on April the 12th at none other than the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for round 2 of 5 in the CORA chase for the championship. So although it's not that big of a factor at this point, you can't afford to, if you're going to be a serious title contender like Ryan Borges, you can't run 21st in a chase race.
That's just not acceptable in a chase race. So Borges needs to get together here if he has any glimmer of hope, and he needs something big to happen here. He needs a wreck to happen in front of him or whatnot, and practice more next time. So we will be moving forward in this race with Ryan Borges hopefully running up front, and this is just going to be exciting. I mean, I've been looking forward to this race ever since I've been brought on board to help commentate with CORA, and this is going to be wonderful. Here we go, Evan. We're going to get ready for another restart as they head into 3.
And we've seen quite a few checkups on these last attempts at some restarts here, so this one could be exciting. We got 2 Storm Motorsports cars sitting 1st and 4th with Sedlak and David Wink. They are well representing inside the top 5 after they both started 23rd and 30th respectively. Between them, you got Colton Berkey in the 81, who will sit in 2nd spot, and Mike Morrow, who sits 3rd right now. He started back in the 18th position. So a lot of people have made their way through this field. A lot of people that started up front have only gone backwards throughout the night, and only 11 laps away for determining who's going to walk away with the final checkered flag on 2014. Pace car is down and away. Green flag gets set to fly. 35 in control, and now back and away we go across the start-finish line. Green flag flies, and on the outside it is Colton Berkey hanging tough. Mike Morrow wants to make a move to the inside for 2nd. Does not have a nose in there quite yet. Now he will do so and make it door-to-door for 2nd.
Battle for 2nd here as they are getting ready to battle.
Oh, big trouble behind him.
Trouble behind a big wreck. Oh, this is one of them big restart wrecks we fear the whole race. They're still wrecking.
George Barr.
Sal Cardy went around George Bark, and flipping. Hard crash. Oh gosh, that was a violent one. He's still flipping Charles Starks,
George Bark is doing a wheelie. He's driving on 2 wheels right now. The front
Charles
tires.
Starks got the worst of that.
The front tires on George Bark's machine are not. He can't steer. Front
Oh
tires
my.
are not touching the ground. I was just about to talk about George Bark being under the caution after he started on pole position and was sitting in 11th position. The fact that he was trying to get back up through this field. This starts with William Roberts Jr. and Joel Wood. Let's see what caused it. They were very close, and it looks like it was Joel Wood who initiated the contact, got into the William Roberts machine. They both went around, and it was Joel Wood who went back up on the racetrack and kind of into a pack of about 3-4 cars in that one, collected a few of them there, sent them out into the inside wall. A huge wreck and a tough lick for the 79 of Joel Wood as that thing scraped, looks like, head on into the outside fence. We had a couple guys go up and over. Actually, a handful of people were flipping. Look at them down the back straightaway. The Charles Starks machine flipped all the way to the inside wall and then some. So a huge wreck, biggest one on the night at a quarter number 2, junks a handful of cars.
This high-speed racing and everything going on, this is the wreck we feared when we came to this track, and I hope George is okay after that one. That was a hard hit. I'm sure he's okay, though. So, hopefully, we'll get confirmation that George is okay. That was a hard hit, though. Like I said, with these Indy cars, this being the old Indy car, now safe DW12, these drivers were bravely going around 220 miles an hour, and we saw the big one we feared all night. We almost made the whole race without it. And I hope George is okay, Evan, but we still have a race to finish here. We'll be thinking about George, though, as this thing goes on. And our leader is still Nathan Sedlak. Second is now Mike Morrow. Morrow is going to be up there in the second position. So, should be exciting to watch these two battle it out. Colton Berkey is in third. I'm gonna be excited to see if... I'm going to be watching George Bark here. We'll see if George Bark can get back out onto the speedway. George Bark, he's waiting on his toe, and I hope he's okay. We're gonna try to get down to the infield care center. Well, at least I will. Whenever I'm gonna leave Evan alone in the booth for a second just to confirm that he's okay here. But that was a hard hit for George Bark.
And again, because of the fact that he did not have any tires, front tires on the ground, and this is a two-wheel drive car, essentially a two-wheel steering rather, does not have four-wheel steering, it caused the problem once he had to turn. When he got to turn number 3, he spun out and was forced to take the tow back to pit road. So if he does have a quick fix, he's going to at least lose 1 or 2 laps via taking the actual tow to get down to pit lane. So this is going to cost him any shot at a decent finish. One of the drivers that started off their season well, had a little bit of a rough streak, started to pick things back up, was in a chase position, will probably still be in a chase position exiting tonight's race, but a tough break for the Bark machine as, again, he slides back and is down on pit road. We've gone now down to 22 cars on the lead lap. Dustin Lee is the last car on the lead lap. 2 to go this time by, and it looks like the Lee machine going to be one of the cars that dives down to pit road. Sedlak will still lead after a what could be, when it's all said and done, PD, a race-winning move by throwing it down there on the bottom, down that back straightaway, forcing it 3 wide, making it work, and getting himself to that top spot back about 2 yellows ago.
Certainly will be a tough thing for him to do as they try to make their way back through this field. Sedlak, though, he's going to be sitting pretty here. I don't know where he came from this race. He started in 23rd. He wasn't up front the whole night, and now he's here in position to win the race. Same with Ryan Borges. He's up in 12th now. So these storm cars have turned around their luck late in this thing. Should be exciting to watch here, as Sedlak is going to be in front of Morrow. With the dominant car of the night, Colton Berkey is going to be in 3rd. And boy, are we in for a eye candy here as we get ready to go for another restart here, Evan.
Yeah, lights still sit on top of the pace car right now, so at least 1.5 more circuits before we do get ready for this upcoming restart. Colton Berkey, the only driver in the top 7 that started inside of the top 10 in this race. Everybody else around him, again, huge position games. I talked about the Storm Motorsports entry. Sedlak and Wink started way back outside of the top 20. Thought that they were going to be struggling tonight. They've made their way forward in this race. So this one is still far from over, and the way that this is going to set things up is going to be for a restart coming up just shy of 5 to go. Lights going off this time. It will be 6 laps to go. If we get a caution right away, I believe we'll be able to get a quick restart, maybe 1 or 2 to go, PD. But if we get at least a lap in, this race could very easily end under caution flag conditions.
And they easily could. They're going to have a quick caution if they want to see this thing under the green. Or do the easy thing and just go to the end. Just go to the end here from Michigan Speedway. So this will be exciting. Nathan Sedlak's going to be in the lead, followed by Mike Morrow. And the pace car is going to be leading down here. Pace car, earlier stage of the race, pace car didn't have to lead a lot of laps, but he's had to lead them here of late. So I'm really excited to see this. Like, I know I've said that probably for the 1000th time now, sorry, but this is just Indy cars are always a beautiful thing to watch. They're such a lightweight, fast car. They fly around this place, and if you make the littlest bit of contact here, you get flown around like a rag doll. So Moro is going to have to battle hard on the outside, and he's going to need David Wenk to get there and help him. And David Wenk's best option is to help Moro, but if he does that, he's not helping his teammate Sedlak. So I'm sure right now David Wenk's having a big conflict of interest in his mind as we get ready for yet another restart.
Yeah, restart coming up. It is going to be transferring over from lap 94 to 95, so 6 laps will remain in this race. Quick yellow means a late race shootout dash. If we get at least 1 or 2 laps down, this race will end. If there is to be a caution, if there is to be a wreck that triggers the yellow flag, will end under those yellow flag conditions. So Nathan Sedlak just trying to survive, just needs to keep that nose in front. You don't even need to pass him to win. You just need to have a nose at the start-finish line. Pace car down and away. Green flag gets set to fly. Mike Morrow alongside Nathan Sedlak. Green flag in the air. 35 car going to get clear for the lead. Here comes Colton Berkey to the inside, going to make that challenge for second.
Give the point to Colton Berkey. Berkey is going to get second, and they are going to go through the field. And oh my, here comes Colton Berkey. Berkey's going to try to take to the low side.
Morrow to the bottom.
Morrow giving the challenge. And here we go. It's going to, oh my, this battle is going to heat up. If they get the flag this time, the race will be over no matter what happens. But Morrow's flying. Morrow is going to take the spot. Contact these up this track. That wasn't Wenk. That was that was Berkey. Berkey, that was.
There we go.
These Indy cars look very similar, especially when you're looking at them from the sky.
Can't read a
folks.
number on it. There's no roof number.
There's no roof number, and the Storm Machines and Berkey look very similar. But back to the racing. Morrow has taken the lead from Sedlak. Give it to Morrow as he is going to try to battle back, though, on the outside that is Sedlak. And Sedlak is going to battle here, do battle with Morrow as, oh, this is just a bunch of guys that have come out of nowhere.
Oh, contact again. 3 wide now. Dominic Diaball to the middle. No room, gets cut off, and he'll have to check up. Now to the bottom lane, that time by the start-finish line. Goes that David Wenk machine. He tries to slice down. You see Dieball still in the middle there. Mike Morrow leads this race. It is Sedlak up on the outside now. David Wenk now working the bottom. Has Colton Berkey behind him. And here comes a charge from Sedlak trying to get it this time by. Going to be 3 laps to go. This could end at any moment. How crucial is it to get that nose at the start-finish line? And you could get this win. Dominic Dieball now all over the back bumper. That 35 car. It's a drag race to the start-finish line. Advantage to Mike Morrow that time.
The only thing I know right now is whoever leads the checkered flag will win this race, as they are battling right now hard for the lead. Sedlak on the outside with Mike Morrow on the inside. Morrow is giving them all he's got, and Sedlak's doing the same. This is it, folks. Just 3 laps to go. Here we go. Can Morrow get there? It's 3 wide behind them. Battle with Dieball and Wenk and Berkey as Berkey's way outside, and he's going to have to settle in line here. It's going to be close to the stripe again. Sedlak with the run on the outside. It's going to be a dead heat at the line. It was Sedlak by just 6/1000ths of a second. So they basically swapped there. And oh my, 2 laps to go, folks. This is about to get intense.
And still everybody's shuffling, but it is Mike Morrow who leads this race. Sedlak had the advantage of the start-finish line, which is all that matters. Side by side for first, side by side for third, and then for fifth as well. 6 cars separated by nearly only 1/1000th of a second in this race now. And a lot of contact at a 4. We're nearly bouncing off each other. White flag in the air. It doesn't matter if we pile them in now. 3 wide on the outside. A last-ditched effort from Colton Berkey. To the outside he goes. Can't do it. Dominic Dieball down low. It was still Nathan Sedlak at the stripe. He's got a great run through too. Here comes Dieball. Mike Morrow going the wrong direction, and he'll be cleared by Nathan Sedlak. Looks like the 35 may be able to get this. They're 3 wide battling for second. Morrow, a last-ditched effort for the top spot. He's not going to be able to get there. Dominic Dieball with the run, goes high. 3 wide at the start-finish line. They're all going to come up short, and checkered flag in the air. Give it to Nathan Sedlak.
3 wide, and the top 3 are separated by 27/1000ths of a second. What a finish here from the Irish Hills of Michigan, Evan.
It was Dieball who tried to get the job done. Mike Morrow just couldn't get the speed through 2 that he needed, and his charge came up late, and it was nearly feeling it by the 15 of Dominic Dieball. Went high at the last second, and again comes home only 19/1000ths of a second short, and Nathan Sedlak gets home this win after working the outside lane on those final few laps there, was able to clear the Mike Morrow machine and gets the checkered flag tonight. And what a race as he's able to get it done. The top 9, PD, less than half a second between them all. What a race at that finish. And that's the second time we've seen Michigan produce a wild finish.
Well, one thing's for sure, and that is, I was right. Whoever led at the checkered flag is going to win this race, and that tonight was Nathan Sedlak. We're going to send a commercial break. We'll talk to our top 3 when we come back. See you on the other end, folks.
Back live from the Michigan International Speedway after a 3-wide finish. Heck, make it 5 cars that were essentially in that. The top 5 separated by only 1/10 of a second in that wild race down to the checkered flag that saw Nathan Sedlak take it all home. And before we get there, we're down on pit road. I've caught up with tonight's 3rd place finisher, driver of the number 17 machine. That's going to be Mike Morrow. Mike, you started back in 18th, and after what was a great race, we saw a lot of hard racing, 2-3 wide, work in the draft, and at times very big incidents. You survived it all. You get a podium finish. Walk us through all of that.
Well, I came into tonight just assuming we were going to have a green flag run to the end, so I had my pit strategy all set up. That kind of got demolished with the cautions, so I just had to figure out this aero push that this car has, and once I figured that out, I was able to drive it to the front and keep it up there. A lot of good racing by everybody in here.
Walk us through that final restart that saw you have to work on that bottom lane there, and especially that final lap where Sedlak was eventually able to essentially clear you at a 2. You made one final push, but it just came up short. Looking back on it, do you think there was anything different that you could have done maybe to get that 17 to victory lane, or did you get everything you could out of it there at the end?
I think if I would have started shifting more aggressively at the beginning of that restart, I might have been able to clear him at least one time and move up in front of him. But other than that, I think I did everything I could do on the bottom with the push.
You gave it everything you had, and it's still going to be a podium position, which means 15 positions in the positive from where you started this race, Mike. Before we let you get back down to the team here and wrap up this race weekend, sponsors, shout-outs, all that, who made this possible for you?
I'm a one-man team.
Well, you made it work for yourself, and you did a good job getting it done. Top 3, Mike, again, congratulations, and hopefully we can see that 17 car up again here in the future.
Thank you. I'll be back.
That is tonight's 3rd place finisher, driver of the number 17 car. That looks like it's the Sundrop entry. It is Mike Morrow. Now down on pit road, our 2nd place finisher who nearly just stole this race in a final last-ditched effort up to the outside lane, the 15 car of Dominic Dyball. PD, you're with him.
Well, Dominic, you drove a flawless race. You always kept your car clean, and at the end it paid off. Dominic, take us through that last lap, and if you had a chance to do it over again, how would you get by Nathan Sedlak in the final corner?
I knew going into that corner I'd have to stay behind him until rolling out, and I gave him a good push in the backstretch, and I was just hoping it gave him the momentum going out of the corner just a little bit more than me, and he got it. Man, that was a close one.
It was just 19 one-thousandths of a second, Dominic, and you started off this IndyCar stint in fantastic fashion, giving us one of the more exciting finishes we have seen yet this season. So, Dominic, how do you plan to keep this momentum rolling going further into the IndyCar stint?
Well, last season I finished 5th at Watkins Glen, and these Indy cars, I was leading it last season for a while, so I feel really strong in it, and this is what I'm looking forward to, and then, of course, the super speedways.
All right, Dominic. Well, you gave us an impressive show to watch here tonight, and it's always fun watching your race. Before I let you go catch up with your team, who makes that happen for you in the number 15 crew, Dominic?
Oh, got to give a shout out to Wood Wrench and, Wolfpack. Great group of guys that, we work really hard on these setups and racing, and it's just a lot of fun. And of course, Dieware, my sponsor, and Small Town Computers, our co-sponsor, and just CORA, LSRTV, and thanks everybody.
All right, that was our 2nd place finisher tonight, Dominic Dyball. Always a pleasure to speak with Dominic. And meanwhile, Evan Pasoko is caught up in victory lane where the champagne is flying, and Evan is caught up with our winner, Nathan Sedlak.
It was a 23rd starting position for the Nathan Sedlak at a Storm Motorsports entry. He gets the job done when it is all come down to it, and 100 laps later, Nathan, you're a winner tonight. You had to start on the outside on that final restart. How were you able to make that pass and take home the checkers?
Well, that last one there, I just, it was just everything I had. I wasn't going to let up. I wasn't going to move out of that center lane. I knew it was the best. I hate to hold a guy down like that and pinch on that, but, with this fixed set and everybody so close, you got guys trying to make it 3 wide and everything else. I'm still shaking from that one, that's for sure.
It definitely gets the blood pumping when you're out there at 220 plus miles an hour and you guys are battling right on each other's doors and whatnot. But you get the job done. And again, with the IndyCar Individual Points Championship, which we have for all the vehicles, being such a short one, you win our first race out here with them at Michigan. We're going to see them 2 more times. Coming up with our next race on the 4th of January at Watkins Glen, Indianapolis. We'll look forward to Watkins Glen. Going to be a road course. How confident are you rolling into that one?
Pretty confident Watkins Glen. I enjoy driving this car around there. I'm not a huge fan of the Indy car, but it's one of those weeks where you just buckle down, keep your mouth shut, and you keep your head down, and you try and win races, get good finishes. Tonight was just luck of the draw. I don't know how this happened. I came from the back to the front a couple times, and everything else. But yeah, going into Watkins Glen, definitely feel comfortable there. Put up some pretty good lap times last year. Went out early, but this year we're starting off good in the Indy car, and a little change. Maybe I will like this car. We keep going like this.
There's only one other way to get it started off, but obviously taking it home with the checkered flag tonight is the best way to get these things kicked off. Always now halfway through our regular season, and you're looking like quite a fierce competitor as well. Entered tonight 3rd in the championship standings, and going to be still sitting up there as you finish better than both Doucette and Borges, who are in front of you. So you got to like where things are looking here for you in the season as well. Obviously, the chase is going to be a very different thing as well that you guys are going to have to fight for, but right now, all so far so good, you'd think?
Oh yeah, for sure. Last year I won the championship, and I was in a much worse spot at this time in the season. I wasn't quite as comfortable as I am now, so it's good. You know, we're looking forward to those chase races. They get a little crazy for sure. There's quite a mixture of races in there that throw points left, right, up, and down. It makes things pretty crazy, but yeah, we are. I'm enjoying where I'm at now. We'll probably move back up a good little ways in the points there. I think Stevenson didn't run with us again this week, so yeah, we'll be okay and enjoy the win.
And you're going to be able to head off for our off weeks as well as the winner tonight at Michigan. Before we let you go, Nathan, as always, sponsors and shout-outs. Who makes this kind of a run possible?
All the guys there at Storm Motorsports, we all work together. This week, we didn't have to do a lot of work. The set was there. It was just more about driving and giving each other hints and different things to do that kept us, you know, from pushing up in certain parts of the corner and different things like that. Everybody over at CORA, good job by all the drivers tonight. I enjoyed myself more than I thought I would. That's for sure. All the admins and everybody over there and all the hard work that they put in every week. It's a pretty, you know, good series. There's a lot of guys in here. That's a lot to take care of, and it's a lot to deal with, and everybody does a good job. And as always, thanks to you guys up in the booth.
We appreciate the kind words, Nathan, and again, congratulations on your win, and enjoy the Christmas, the New Year's, and the holiday off season, and we'll see you back in January.
Yes, sir. A little early Christmas gift with the win tonight. We'll take it.
That is your winner tonight. Driver of the number 35, Nathan Sedlak, takes it all home from the Michigan International Speedway. And PD, before we head off for what's going to be the Christmas break for the CORA Sunday Money Series, final thoughts on our first look at these classic Indy cars, we'll call them, the circa 2011 Delaras, and what was, as we expected to be, a fun race, a lot of aggression, a lot of contact, a lot of big wrecks, and, you know, the 3 wide at the end didn't hurt.
It was just a wonderful and fantastic race to call. And everyone, I hope you're in the holiday spirit. Merry Christmas. May Santa bring you presents and not coal, and just enjoy the holiday spirit.
So that is it from the Irish Hills of Michigan. We're after 100 laps and 200 miles tonight. Your winner is Nathan Sedlak. Want to thank some of the sponsors that make this possible here with CORA, Hurley Property Management, Small Town Computers, iRacing.com, TeamSpeak 3, and Bark Competition Karting. For more information on CORA, you can go to cora-racing.com, or you can type that in as well on Facebook and like them to stay up to date. On behalf of everybody at the broadcast team tonight, myself, Evan Posoko, PDJ Zeller, and Laura Lawson, that is it from Michigan. Your winner is Nathan Sedlak. Everybody have a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, a great holiday season, and we'll see you from the Watkins Glen International on January the 4th.